Yeah, in my bed.
So we pretty much caught up. We've caught up to now. You got a lot of stuff you can't talk about, but you showed us those cool basketball stuff. So you're working on like a personal project, or what's the basketball storyboards you had sent for the.
Yeah, let's
I want to talk about that because I'm really into like sports anime, like
nice.
like Kuroko no Basket, Slam Dunk and Baby Step. Like I love all sports. It's just I feel like it's a genre that we really miss here in the States.
We don't get any sports animation in the States. It feels like I don't think at all.
No, I mean.
And after like Wayne Gretzky's All-Stars.
Yeah, All-Stars in the 90s or whatever. And then there was NFL Rush Zone, which really wasn't. There was Disney Mighty Ducks, which really wasn't. So I was having lunch with my buddy Owen, and he loves sports documentaries, and I just love basketball in general. And he was like, "Have you seen this?" And I was like, "Have you seen this?" And so we just like kicking around and stuff. But that stuff for me was just thinking, like I said, it was like I was just like, how do you storyboard basketball? How do you make basketball look good? And the basketball anime you listed, I hadn't watched any of them except the last one, Kuroko. No, I don't know the rest of that name, but I watched like a little.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck is that? Like, you guys, what do you like? Just like a guy was like dribbling the ball down, and he was like shifting like Dragon Ball Z in between, like. And I was like, no, that's not how that works. Like, you can't. But I do love the way they catch passes because I was just like they do the ball, and the person like catches with one hand. And you're like, that's not how you, but it looks cool for animation. So I was like, oh, that's totally fine. Yeah. But like, I was just like, how would you do this?
Yeah, it'd be cool if you had someone who knew the sport and who knew animation and had a love for both.
Yeah.
That could, find some way of actually paying homage to the athleticism and the, everything that's involved with the actual sport itself into that medium. Has a lot of potential because the eye of the camera is that's the beauty of the animation art form that draws me into it, is that you can exaggerate, you can not so much face shifting on the court, but I'm really excited to see what you do with it, face shift or no.
So I mean,
power up a charged basketball.
It's like I'm gonna shoot a half court shot. Yeah, just like. I'll email it. I did two. So I did one where it was like, again, it was at the time where the NBA hadn't decided to come back yet. There were still talks of the NBA Bumble, which has been super successful so far. And it was just like kind of one night and just like, hey, you know what? What if I boarded one of my favorite Kobe Bryant plays, where he like drives the lane and you think he's gonna go for a layup or a dunk and he passes it to Shaq. And so I boarded that one. That was the very first one I did. And I remember posting it on Twitter and people were just kind of like, yo, what the, like, I would love to see more of this. And I was like, fuck yeah, me too. Like I'd like to do more of this too, but I have a day job. So it was just like, I try to, just do something for myself. Like every, when we were working in the studio, before COVID, the first 2 hours, I'd come into work and the first 2 hours I would do my own thing and then I'd get started on work, right? So like I'd come in, do my stuff, get work started, and then boom. So I try to keep that. So like, let me board something for me. Let me board something that I would like to see. And so then I was just like, here's this one. And then after I did that one, I was like, what's my other favorite play from the series? Because that was the series in 2001. To me, that's the moment where I like I always loved basketball, but like watching Allen Iverson and Kobe Bryant go at it in 2001, like at that point, the Lakers were running through everybody. They had not been defeated. They're in the finals. And here comes Allen Iverson, who's like barely 6 feet tall, ruins the Lakers. Like the Lakers would have had the first record in NBA history to sweep everybody. And the 6 foot tall dude from Virginia stopped that from happening, right? And so like that was like the series. To me, it's like, if the Namek Saga is everybody's favorite Dragon Ball Z saga, like this is the Namek Saga of basketball, right? Like that is the, I don't even like the Namek Saga because I like love Trunks, but like I'm not gonna deny the Namek Saga is the best one. But like I was like, let me do this. So for the second animatic, I did like Allen Iverson crossing the Tyronn Lue, and I was just like, what does that look like? And like you said, because now you can be the camera, you can show this move, and what was great,
how do you play this up? How do you play up the dramatic tension of the moment? And I think what's also cool about this endeavor of yours is that right now you are just doing something that's fun for you, that you're passionate about, but you know, you've obviously had a very well storied career already, but you're also getting more practice time in with body movement in general and anatomy in general that can translate to all sorts of action sequences in the future down the road for yourself or for another project. And you know, you're all basically, you can't lose by just creating.
Well, see, here's the crazy thing about that. Well, it's like, you know, so when I would do this stuff, I would listen to old basketball interviews also, and there's this really cool one with Rachel Nichols. She has a show called The Jump, and she's interviewing, I think this was last year, she's interviewing Tracy McGrady and Kobe Bryant. And to bring it back to Dragon Ball Z, Kobe Bryant is Goku, Tracy McGrady is Vegeta. At the height of their careers, that's where both of these people are at. And they're talking about how they were in Paris for Adidas camp because they were Adidas athletes at that point in time. And Tracy McGrady was about to do a pickup game, and Kobe was just like, nah, bro, don't do pickup. And he's like, it's a waste of time. What's the point of doing pickup? Like, you're gonna get 25 shots in a pickup game. I'm gonna go train. I'm gonna do practice. I can get 2,000 shots off. I can develop my skills. I can hone my skills. I can do all these things and become a better athlete. Me playing a pickup game is not necessarily gonna make me better. And I kind of just took that as like, hey, if I do these little things these little projects for myself, that's gonna help what you said. It's gonna help with all these things. Like, yeah, I love drawing fan art. I think fan art's dope. I'm not gonna stop doing fan art, but like that energy that I would put in for fan art, let me put it into these little, like, I think the kids that do TikTok are genius because it's like, hey, how do you tell a story in 17 seconds? And I think that way too. I'm like, it's all about
visual and narrative shorthand, and I'm obsessed with it. Like, I could rant for hours about like the genius of specific shorthand on TV. I'm all about that. But doing, you know, indulging in these right now, you feel creatively fulfilled, it sounds like, based on just how you're talking about it by doing this. And that, you know, even though it's technically more work, it feels like it might prevent burnout by taking some time for yourself.
I mean, that's it. That's an interesting thing you said, because I remember I was talking to a friend of mine, and, you know, we were just talking about, like, I was like, you have to do, because when you work in boards, you kind of put a lot of yourself into it, and then you go to those reviews, and they're just kind of like, we want things like this. So they kind of just like take off, like, hey, all these things that you get, yeah. Now make it like this, right? So it kind of just like, man, I'll put my all into this, and I got to a place where it's just like, this is not my thing, this is not my show, this is not, so like, getting notes don't really bother me. But I was telling my friend, I was like, you have more creative fulfillment kind of just doing your own thing. You know, so like, granted, I did 2 basketball ones. I did a Buffy the Vampire Slayer one. I did a Final Fantasy VII one, where it was just like air.
I love Buffy.
Yeah, I did a Buffy one, and then I was like, oh, this is really cool, and it's just like cute. Where I started off, where it's just like you just think these 2 kids are just like running in the library about to make out, and then like someone comes with a knife, and you're like, oh shit, it's a knife, and it's like, boom, it's Buffy. Like, and the guy's a vampire. You know, it's like, here's the flip. So it's just like these little cool things that I had done just to be like, let me practice these other things.
Sorry. Oh, just delay. What did you do for Final Fantasy VII?
I have one that I haven't posted yet, just because, like I said, I spend like a little bit every day. I'll post that one and I'll send it to you guys. But I did a quick one of just like animating out of camera where she heals everyone, and like Tifa and Cloud are like surrounded by like Shinra soldiers. And Eugene Lee, who was the director on Voltron, he's like, damn, dude, that shit looks good. And I was like, nah, Eugene. I was like, I need Cloud to rise up in the frame, and I need Tifa to back up like this. But I didn't have enough time, because I try to give myself like a time limit, right? Like I learned from my buddy Matt Humphreys, who's the director on DuckTales, and we worked together on JLA. It's like you got to kind of give yourself like a schedule or something, because then you could just spend forever working on something. And so I was just like, I have this weekend to finish this. I have Sunday to finish this Final Fantasy VII thing. I'm not working on it on Monday. So I try to do that, and so like just to keep the ball going, just to keep moving with other things. So
right. That's a really smart, and I've heard similar things with writing, because that's what I'm trying to, my focus is mostly writing versus design, but like I've heard, you know, setting aside a schedule, even if it's, or like a word count. It can be not good words, but if you just get them down a little each day, at least.
Yeah.
If inspiration hits, then by all means, but to prevent burnout and to keep creativity going. And even if it's not the main project, because I found that, like, you know, I've had to step back from my main creative baby to go out, watch some new TV show, read a new book, gain some new perspective, and then come back and I'm like, oh, that creative block, don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
It's all, nothing is wasted as long as something's being created, essentially.
No, that's a good thing. Yeah, for sure. Like, you know, James Tucker, who was supervising director and producer at Warner Brothers, like, you don't know what works until you put it out there, right? So, like, that was the thing that he had kicked to me, because I'd sometimes just run up in his office and bug him with, like, tons of fucking questions. And Chris Copeland's, you know, philosophy is like rushing to failure, you know what I'm saying? Like, get it all out there, just get it out, you know, and then you can, like, build what you want out of it. And so, like...
But pacing yourself is also important, because I feel like our industry is plagued with overworking and a lot of just make sure you don't burn out and you're free. Not you, I'm talking to the audience, like, out there of young and...
But part of the thinking of just getting it, part of the thing is just getting it out there is not to noodle it forever.
Yeah.
Not to work it. Just do it and get it out. Usually, and like what James said, and I fully agree with this, you never know what's going to work. You never know what's going to hit the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it can be
find out later, I was like, oh, that was successful. Let me do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah. It will never be perfect.
Yeah.
Because then nothing gets made. Yeah.
I like the burnout thing that you brought up, because at the same time, like in my head, I'm like, oh, I need to finish this thing, this small thing, and I just like, I don't have energy today. I won't do it, right? Like, I won't force myself to do it. I won't. So, like, you know, although I am working on these little things for myself, if I don't have the energy for it, I'm not gonna force myself to do these things, because it is important. Because I have gotten to a point where I'm like really fucking tired, and I'll try to draw something, and it would be
good art. Yeah.
And then the next day, man, this was just way easier if I just waited the next day to handle this one small thing, you know?
Yeah, because good art is not made with a shotgun held to your head. You know, like, it just isn't. It you know, sometimes it helps. That the program helps. Oh, that's why I had that word in my head. I was like, why did I use that word? No. But like, seriously though, if you're sleep deprived or whatever, like, give it a rest. It'll be okay. Yeah. It'll still be there tomorrow, and it's animation. It's cartoons at the end of the day. Yeah. It's cartoons. We're here. And if you're not having, like, if you're having a miserable time, if the crew is having a miserable time making a show, it's not going to have all those special little flair from everyone at all levels of production who are excited to give the show their all.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pace yourselves, art students. Yeah. It'll be okay. You're not falling behind.
Should I do the intro again, or are we good to go?
No.
All right.
Oh, there we go.
Let's go. So there was an intro, and then there was about 45 seconds to a minute of awkwardness. That will serve as our musical intro today, just us rambling about nothing. And now, here we are.